lots of lights halfway down where we saw
Yeah.
quite a few, and then about 2/3 of the way up, there's a lot of white lights.
Yeah,
And then right near the top, also, there's a few lights. So-
yeah, that's where the cave is, up towards the right side on the top, and then the middle is the door, where the door opens, and down low is where we have all the landings. We have tons of landings there down low, so it's, it's just been, it seems like every night lately, it's just been crazy, but,
We've filmed like 3 landings alone,
Yeah.
like since I've been here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also Peter got a beautiful shot of a ship coming out of the cave.
It's a
So-
classic one,
Yeah, so,
Classic.
that puts to rest that these are campers,
But those landing ones, they're like, how long do you reckon they are? Because they look like massive ships, like,
Yeah, they're covering a quarter mile
Yeah,
or
at
a
least.
half mile.
Rob
so-
said he saw a ship move across in what, 2 minutes? It moved across the whole side of the mountain, right?
Yes, now it
Yeah.
seems that the best captures are when you're changing your batteries.
Exactly.
I was gonna comment about that.
Yeah, if they don't want you to get a certain
Exactly.
photo or video, you won't get it.
I finally
Lots of
remembered,
stories
Yeah.
around
I
that.
have my SD card here tonight. I forgot this the last 2 nights. I
Yeah.
finally brought it tonight.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so while I was doing that, I actually had the night vision, just the handheld scope out, and I watched a light. It started out in the middle, and it moved straight across to the outside of the mountain in about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I don't know the mathematics on how big the mountain is, but I would have to say it's several miles. I don't
Yeah,
know, what would
yeah,
it be to
probably,
the
yeah.
outside, like
Yeah, probably 7 miles.
10 miles
Yeah.
more? And for something to move that distance in a minute and a half,
Mhm.
that ruled out a car, an
Yeah,
ATV,
yeah.
or people walking,
Yeah.
for sure.
Or a snowmobile.
Well,
Or a
yeah.
snowmobile, yeah.
Yeah. And also too, right now, the snow's pretty much gone up there. There's just a little bit of patches left. And whatever vehicle to be up there, first of all, it's wilderness area. It's totally illegal to have any vehicle up there whatsoever. Second of all, the terrain, you just got cliffs, ice cliffs, and you've got large boulders, lava boulders. I mean, the terrain, just walking on it's bad enough. And hiking on it is atrocious, but to get a vehicle to go up there and down and across that mountain, it has to be something that's anti-gravity or something. You cannot get a snowmobile or an ATV or anything up there considering the terrain, because, you come back in a body bag, basically. There's no other way of doing it, but,
It's all burned out forest up there, right?
yeah, the very low part
It's
is,
all
but
rough.
when you get where he's talking about, it's just giant lava boulders and cliffs and glaciers, and even most of the glaciers are gone. There's a little bit of the glacier on the left, but, the whole top of the mountain, I've never seen, there's no snow on the top of the mountain. We're seeing things up there moving around too, so there's no, and then when Peter filmed that one coming out of the cave and going straight up, I know GoPro people did that as well. That eliminates the camper theory that the campers are up there with giant lights, because that area, nobody goes in that area. When they climb Mount Adams, they call it south climb, but in truth it's more east climb. It's on the east side, it goes across the very top on the right side, and you just don't, it's 13, 14 miles away. The luminosity and the candle power of those lights that we're seeing are enormous, and
13 miles away.
yeah, 13, 14 miles away. So how do you pack equipment that big up there and do it every night and be up there till 3 or 4 in the morning? It makes no sense. There's no logic to it, but so anyway, it's
We have similar ground lights in Japan a lot, and we've done testing where we bring a car across at the same distance across a cove or something where we see the lights, and the size is incomparable. It's like
yeah.
10 to 15 times larger than the car headlights at the same distance.
We found some crazy stuff here at the last 2 conferences, ships making turns.
U-turn with Jimmy Church and
yeah.
then Billy Carson and like come over and it's like, and then it's just coming back and Jimmy's like, oh my God, it's not a U-turn.
Yeah, one's cruising, all of a sudden it's going back the other way, and you're going, wait a second, so satellites don't make U-turns, satellites don't power up like they do here, and a lot of it's later on in the evening. They're in the Earth's shadow, it's not reflective light. We know all about the iridium flares, and we know all about the debunkers trying to say it's a satellite, but we also know what satellites are up there, because we can go on J-Tracker or Heavens Above and find out exactly what's up there. So when the NASA boys say that this is a space station, when we film a ship landing on the mountain and morphing into three, going back to one again, taking off and leading a jet off, and that's chasing it, and then come back to the mountain again, you know, you show them this footage and they say, oh, that's the space shuttle. You know? So it's like, and I have that on film. And I said, my God, who are these people? How can, that's their standard thing. It's either the space shuttle, or it's the ISS or whatever, it's the satellite, or, you know, we know what's up there. There's, you know, ISS, there's EVASTAT, there's all, you know, there's no more shuttles, they're grounded. And we know when they're launching the other rockets, so. And we also have footage of the space station up there with ships flying in front of it, flying across its bow, a massive ship going across its bow, some behind it, and you call up NASA and say, hey, do you have any ships up there that are bringing supplies to the space station? They go, oh, no, nothing's up there. And I go, we just filmed 4 craft up there flying around the space station. And so I think it's interesting that all of a sudden they change their story really quick, and oh, you're seeing a Russian rocket, or they come up with something, you know. But I know there's not 4 Russian rockets up there. Could be our space fleet, our secret space fleet, who knows, but it's definitely not a known object, you know, that we're aware of. But there's so much going on up there. And also too, I want to talk a little bit about the experiences that, you know, although we do have all the equipment and we are monitoring this and measuring it, and we have the equipment to do all this stuff, and we have physical craft and everything else. It's not about the physical, it's really about rising to the occasion, because these are very spiritually and technologically advanced beings. And that's where most of ufology misses the boat. You know, they're either keeping it 60 years in the past, or they want to keep it nuts and bolts and things like that, but it's far beyond that. And you would think with after, you know, 30 years of being here and documenting this and having contacts and telling them exactly when and where the ships are flying, and doing it redundantly with news crews and other like Paranormal State and people like that. Danny Dyer specials, Robbie Williams was up here. You know, you do this redundantly, you think after a while they go, well, maybe we should change our mind here about this. Maybe there is something to the telepathic contact, or maybe there is something to these beings being ultra-dimensional or having a higher spiritual nature to them. And it does make sense. You have a group that's millions, if not billions of years ahead of us. You know, in evolution as we know it, they would probably have to go spiritual, or they would probably destroy themselves. So, you know, it's just common sense. But anyway, despite the track record here and the documentation, the thousands of witnesses, the triple PhD born engineers and Lockheed Skunk Works guys that testified on our bill and things of that nature, you know, we still have the naysayers. But the one problem is that they have is that it's still happening. It's still there. I mean, you can still come up here. It hasn't stopped, you know. And so they can't try to debunk something that happened in the past. All they have to do is come up and bring their eyes and a camera and get their own footage. But a lot of them just won't do that, because, you know, they've written a book and they have their belief system, and usually it's limited to nuts and bolts, or keeping everything in the past. And so they don't want anything outside of that system. It's like when you bring a new theory in, you have to wait till the old professors die, because they wrote the books on the old theory. And finally when they die, you can bring the new theory in, because, you know, it's being heavily censored, and there's a lot of that happening. But anyway, with the uncontrolled narrative, with the people we have on there, and the evidence, and the ships, and the things that Peter has documented, you know, it's a slam dunker. You know, so if you want to you know, get a hold of that and share it with your friends and things of that nature, it's a real eye-opener. And I'm going to turn this over to Peter again, because Peter has some of the best footage on the planet, if not the best footage of the planet, of both metallic craft, light ships, Palladians appearing in his bedroom, in his living room. Unbelievable footage, undeniable. It's all been well documented. It's been checked out by Jason Gleaves and other people. Researchers have checked it out. They've run it through all the spectrums, and you know, it's been totally legit. I'd love to get his take and just talk a little bit about the other side of nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
It's got to do with the spiritual component, and that took me a while to understand that with the contact. But I'll just say this now, guess how many people had come to my house in Australia and investigated this from a UFO group? Not one.
Yeah.
I had to have Japanese TV crews come, Mexican, and individual people like this. Not one group came to investigate. And what my conclusion was that I couldn't be your story. Now, I'm open to doing documentaries, and I'm doing documentaries and featuring new things, and that's great. But what I mean by I couldn't be their story was a lot of UFO groups, they want to